A woman asking you to lead more usually isn't asking for dominance. She's asking whether you can lead yourself, because a lot of men hear the word lead and immediately think it means becoming louder, more controlling, more demanding. That's usually not what she means. Most of the time, she's talking about energy, direction, consistency, presence, the feeling that your life is actually moving somewhere. You can feel when a man trusts himself, and you can feel when he's kind of drifting through his own life, hoping things magically figure themselves out eventually. That's usually the difference. A lot of guys grew up without a strong example of leadership, so they think leadership means having all the answers. It doesn't. Half the time, leadership is just making a decision and staying calm long enough to stand on it. It's saying, yeah, we're doing this, and not emotionally folding the second there's pressure. It's being able to regulate yourself when things get tense, instead of making your partner carry emotional stability for both people. That's a big one. Because eventually, women stop asking, does he love me? And start asking, can I trust this man's direction? Not perfection. Direction. There's a difference. You see it in small things. A man says he wants to get healthy, but keeps restarting every Monday. Says he wants to save money, but impulse buys things every week. Says he wants peace, but reacts emotionally to every inconvenience that happens during the day. After a while, it becomes hard for someone to relax into the relationship because it feels like nobody's really driving it. It's hard to relax when the person driving the car is also the one asking for directions every 5 minutes. And honestly, leadership usually starts way before the relationship itself. It starts in how you handle your own life, your routines, your word, your consistency. Do you trust yourself? Because people can feel that. You can feel when somebody keeps making promises to themselves and quietly breaking them behind the scenes. That energy leaks into relationships. A man who trusts himself moves differently. He follows through. He apologizes when he's wrong without collapsing into shame. He can hear criticism without turning every conversation into a courtroom debate. He doesn't need to win every disagreement just to feel respected. That's leadership too. And honestly, one of the biggest misunderstandings men have is thinking leadership means controlling the woman. Real leadership usually creates more safety, not less freedom. It's calm, grounded, predictable in a healthy way, not emotionally exhausting. You know what actually feels exhausting? Feeling like you have to check the emotional weather forecast before bringing something up. Feeling like one bad mood can suddenly change the whole atmosphere of the relationship. That's why emotional steadiness matters so much. Not being emotionless, steady. There's a difference. A lot of men think stoicism means becoming cold. Usually, it just means being low maintenance emotionally. It means your partner doesn't have to constantly manage your reactions just to keep the peace. And honestly, relationships don't usually need some giant 5-year master plan, but they do need movement, direction. The feeling that life is actually going somewhere, otherwise the relationship starts feeling emotionally loose, like two people just circling the same parking lot, hoping movement eventually appears by itself. Healthy relationships usually have momentum in them. Not constant excitement, momentum. Two people getting healthier, more disciplined, more emotionally mature, more honest, more stable. That's leadership. And honestly, one of the strongest things a man can say sometimes is, I've been avoiding that. I need to handle it. That sentence alone separates boys from men more than most people realize. Because leadership also means accountability. Not blaming your childhood forever. Not blaming your parents forever. Not blaming your partner for every emotional reaction you have. At some point, you start realizing nobody is coming to organize your life for you. That realization changes people. You start waking up earlier, taking your body more seriously, handling problems faster instead of emotionally circling them for 6 months. You stop needing motivation for basic responsibilities. And weirdly enough, relationships often improve after that without huge conversations even happening. Because people respond to energy shifts. A woman relaxes differently around a man who's emotionally steady. Not perfect, steady. And the best part is, once you start leading yourself, you stop needing so much validation from the relationship. You're not constantly looking for reassurance that you're doing enough. You already know, because you kept the promises you made to yourself this morning. That changes the way you speak, the way you walk into rooms, the way you handle tension. Everything starts feeling a little less performative, a little more grounded. And look, none of this means becoming perfect. You're still going to get things wrong sometimes, still lose your temper sometimes, still have moments where you feel insecure or uncertain. Leadership isn't perfection, it's repair. It's being able to come back after the moment and say, yeah, that was immature. I shouldn't have handled it like that. People trust accountability way more than performance, and honestly, a lot of women don't need some hyper dominant alpha fantasy. They just want to feel like the relationship has emotional structure, like somebody is emotionally awake at the wheel. Like life feels safer to build with instead of harder to survive through. That's why self leadership matters so much, because eventually your relationship can only stabilize to the level that you stabilize yourself. Your habits show up, your discipline shows up, your avoidance shows up, your emotional control shows up. Everything leaks through eventually. That's why the strongest relationships usually aren't built by perfect people. They're built by people who are willing to grow without constantly running from discomfort. People who can hear hard truths without collapsing. People who can lead themselves first. The version of leadership most people are secretly craving is pretty simple: consistency, direction, emotional steadiness, and somebody who makes life feel a little calmer to build with.